Hello everyone, bonjour. This is MJ and you are at my channel called Reading This Life, and my channel is where we talk fiction, friends, and fun. Today, it's going to be a little bit of all that, but mostly it's going to be a travel vlog story time. Gonna give you the lowdown on our experience traveling to London and Paris. Stay tuned. And remember, before we get started, show me some international love. So I'm going to go back in time with you. When I first started watching YouTube, I would watch fashion channels. And fashion channels would have outfits and store sales and home decor and all kinds of things. So there were books that were being offered that were talked about, and a lot of the fashion YouTubers had them. These are by Georgiana Lane. And there's one for Paris, there's one for London, and there's one for New York. And what happens is you stack them, and I mean, they're beautiful. These books are absolutely beautiful during the dead of winter when you have like no energy, no spunk, no anything. You just start paging through here and you get a little spark of life back. But you stack them up and they look nice on your shelf or on a coffee table or something like that. So I have had these out. It'll be 2 years coming up, probably over the summer. So I've had these laying around and I often page through them. So if anyone out there is into the law of attraction, this could be a part of it. So I've always had an interest in London. I've always had an interest in Paris. I grew up loving the Beatles. I grew up loving Duran Duran. I grew up loving David Bowie, the British punk culture. My family, on my mom's side of the my dad's side of the family, they're royalists. Every single royal function, they would want to know who was wearing what, et cetera, et cetera. We woke up at stupid o'clock in the morning to watch Diana's wedding. So there's a lot of connection. A fourth of my heritage is British. And the other fourth is Irish. And then I have Eastern European over here. So I turned 50. Nothing. I really didn't do anything. There wasn't any party or dinner or anything like that because we were still pretty heavy in the pandy. That was a year and a half ago. So when January rolled around this year, there was a video that I did. I think it was a New Year tag. And you have to pick a word for the year. And my word for the year was adventure. And my husband and I have not had a vacation. I think we worked it out since 2019. I think 2019. We haven't traveled anywhere internationally since 2017. So I basically said, we need to start looking. And he loves nothing more than a beach and a cabana and, a beer and just lounge and go in the ocean, out of the ocean. He's a beach bum. He loves the beach. There's nothing wrong with that. I want to explore. I want to see the world. I want to go to different places. So I came up with this idea. I said, we're going to do your vacation and we're going to do my vacation. And that's how it's going to be. So he was okay with it. How this vacation all started was by that goofy band Duran Duran. So I got an email from the fan club saying that they were playing in London, like 3 dates. Did I get for Philly too? They're playing in Philly in September. And I was like, wow, that would be really cool. And then I'm like, London in May. And then I started thinking about these books because these books tell you to go in April and May to see all of the flowers when they're in bloom. So I looked and I'm like, wow, okay, they are playing. They're playing on May 2nd. Okay. Then there's a travel website that I belong to. And every Wednesday they come out with brand new out of this world deals. So they had one. And it was 3 days in London, 3 days in Paris, all flights included, hotel, breakfast, and you got a hopper flight in between London and Paris for like this wicked price. Like, we're talking, it was really cheap. So I went online and I went to the travel agency that was offering this trip, and they had a date available for May 1st. You leave on May 1st and you get to London on May 2nd because we were doing a red eye overnight. And I was like, oh, we could go see the band on May 2nd. So I had all this worked out in my head. So it was my birthday. And I basically just dropped the gauntlet. And I said, we're doing this. I'm booking it. And it's going to be in May. And that's it. So here we are. So what I did next was, on my Discord, I set up a private channel. So it was called UK to Paris. And I don't have any Parisians on my Discord that I know of. So I have 4, 5, 6 British booktubers, creators, that I basically invited to this Discord. So I have this Discord and I'm like, all right, husband and I are coming. I need to know tips, tricks, things to do, touristy things to avoid. You know, we don't have an itinerary right now. So if anybody wants to meet up, let us know. We were just having all these great conversations. So thank you to everyone that was in my Discord for making that trip like freaking amazing. And thank you to everyone that took time out of their day to travel, to meet us, to see us, to hang with us for like an hour or two. Awesome. Awesome. You guys are the absolute best. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. So that's how it went. And the travel service that we went through said you can have a small carry-on bag, 22 inches, can't be more than 22 pounds, and like a personal item. So when I tell you we pack light, we pack light. No issues with flights whatsoever. So we left out of Jersey and we went Jersey to Iceland and then Iceland to London. And then we spent 3 days in London. And then we did a hopper flight from London to Paris, which was 45 minutes in the air. And then we stayed in Paris for 3 days. And then we left from Paris to go back to Iceland and then back to Jersey. Iceland is, I guess, like a major hub for European travel where a lot of connecting flights are. So it wasn't out of the ordinary. And when I tell you our flights were cheap, like our flights were cheap. Like it was really cheap. Okay. So what did we do when we got to London? The first thing we did was, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert just like photos and videos here sprinkled throughout so you can get like a flavor for, you know, what it was. And I'm also going to, well, I'll get to that later. Okay. So, day one we land and, you know, London is 5 hours ahead. So it was like 11:30 in the morning when we landed. So that would have been like 4:30 in the afternoon for us. And we didn't sleep. So we're really like worn out. So what we did was we got a taxi, we got pounds. We did currency exchange at the airport. Got to watch those currency exchange people. They want you to keep upping the number and it seems like you're not getting enough back. So be careful with that. And then we had to get a taxi. So we got a taxi from the airport to our hotel. Also with the taxi, they try and reel you in with attractions and day passes and all this stuff. Do your homework before you travel. Get an itinerary as to what you're going to be doing, or else you could be like a sucker at the airport. Okay, so then it took us 45 minutes to get to the hotel. Speed limit's really low in the UK. We're talking like 20 miles an hour on some streets, and those traffic cameras are insane. They're insane. I've never seen more traffic cameras in all my life. I could see why public transportation is huge. So we get to the hotel. Hotel's really cute. We're about 30 minutes outside of the city, the center of London. But we're within walking distance of a metro to get on the tube. So the first day we just unpacked and we really walked around the neighborhood where our hotel was. So a lot of different shops. It reminded me almost as if I was describing to people that we're not in Manhattan, we're in Brooklyn. So it had a very more city vibe, more urban vibe. Great restaurants. We every single meal that we had was fantastic. And you all in the UK, I don't know if you know this, but your food is really cheap. It is really cheap. We ate so well for so little money. Like, it really was mind-blowing. I was telling friends here that a cappuccino here in the States, like a medium-sized cappuccino, is $5. Over in the UK, you get a cappuccino and a pastry for $5. Like, there's more value to your money over in the UK. So we did that for the first day. In order to escape the jet lag, I said to my husband, we are going to sleep at 9 o'clock. So our bodies thought that it was 4 o'clock? No. I think we actually turned in at 8 o'clock. So our bodies were thinking it's 3 o'clock. And we slept until 6 the next morning. We got a great night's sleep. We were ready to go. Day 2, we walked to the metro. We got on the metro. We get off the metro. We went to Westminster. We wanted to get off there. And as soon as you walk out of the metro, Big Ben is right in front of you. And it's like, oh, man. And we went right before the coronation. So we actually flew to Paris the Friday before Charles was crowned king. So there was a lot of security. We were in one of the safest places on the planet, I truly believe. And the buzz was amazing. It really, really was. So that first day, we really just explored on our own. We went to, we got as close to Buckingham Palace as we could. We saw a changing of the guard. We went to, where else did we go? We went to St. James Park. We saw the flowers. And then, like I said, at the hotel the next morning, so this would be day 2 in London, the hotel had an English breakfast. Full spread. Everything was on the menu. And yes, I did try Marmite, and I'm going to save my Marmite experience for a little later in this. But it was fine. Toast. They had their, what they call bacon, but it's not really like bacon to Americans. It's more like a Canadian type bacon. They had tomatoes. They had mushrooms. They had beans. There was fruit. There was yogurt. There was cereal. There was some juice that I wasn't really familiar with. The one was called Forest Essence. And I'm like, are we in Sherwood Forest? What's going on? And I got on Discord and I asked my British peeps, and I'm like, what is forest juice? And somebody said it might be aloe vera juice or something like that. I just stayed away. I stuck with apple juice. But I'll tell you what, the coffee experience in London was amazing. Amazing. Now, you don't get the big Dunkin' like I get. It's the little demi-tasse cups. And it is espresso with a little cream in it, and that's it. And I'll tell you what, it fueled my mornings 100%. Also, the British pound is so clean. It's so clean. Your money is pretty. It's clean. It has a nice texture to it. It's not like, no offense to the American dollar, but it's dirty and crinkled and all this stuff. We went to see Shakespeare's Globe. We went to St. Paul's Cathedral. We went to another cathedral. We went to Battersea. We walked through Notting Hill. Saw a lot of Ferraris driving around. That was kind of fun. But yeah, a lot of walking on full day, well, day 2, I guess you would call it. We literally walked for like 9 hours, just exploring everything. And you have such a beautiful city. Like, it's just beautiful. So then we went to the tower. Okay, so day 3, we had VIP passes to the Tower of London and a viewing of the crown jewels. Guess whose crowns weren't there? Because somebody was getting crowned. So the king and queen crowns were not available. Other crowns were there. The anointing spoon was there. A lot of other beautiful artifacts and things were still there. So we were able to walk through that. You cannot take pictures at the crown jewels. You cannot. Not allowed. They don't want anybody casing the joint. But I'll tell you what, the security there, the walls of the doors, they have to be this thick. And there's like 12 bolts going through them. Like, it is Fort Knox when they lock those at night. And we did the Tower of London. So we did a guided tour and then a self-guided tour. We saw everything. We went to all the different towers. We saw the changing of the guard there. I guess it was like their opening ceremony. They do an opening ceremony and a closing ceremony every day. We saw the ravens. You have to have 6 ravens at all times so the monarchy doesn't fall. I went to the torture chamber. I needed to see that. Just really, really interesting, really cool. It was nice to get there early, so we weren't with a lot of crowds or anything like that. And it was an absolutely beautiful day. Then we went down into the city and we met up with some friends. And again, thank you to my friends for showing us around. We had lunch with someone, and then we also hung out and went book shopping. And I'll put a card here for... I'll actually put 2 cards. One for my haul, and I will link Gareth's video. Gareth did a video of me coming to town. I'll link his video down below too if you want to check that out. It was really awesome. He's a great friend. So that was cool. And then, so that was the last day. And we wanted to get back to our room. We wanted to hang longer, but we weren't able to. One of my husband's favorite things on this trip was going to this pub. We went to this pub. I think it was 1628. It was founded. Just small, wooden, traditional. There's video, there's pictures here. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. He would have stayed there all night if he could. Okay, so then the next day we had to leave London and then we went to Paris. And it's kind of interesting because where I live, to take a hopper flight to Philly is 45 minutes. And there's a local airport that does that quite often. And that's what this flight was. It was 45 minutes. So we landed in Charles de Gaulle. We had no issues with customs at all. Very smooth. London, like, y'all didn't even give me a stamp on my passport. I wanted a stamp on my passport. You just scanned my passport and told me to keep on moving. We took a taxi. Now, driving in Paris, there was a lot more traffic and it was a lot more chaos, I would say. It took us about maybe a half hour to 45 minutes to get to our hotel. Beautiful day. You're driving through and you see all these cafes and people are just outside smoking and drinking coffee and having an absolute just beautiful afternoon. It was fantastic. So we get to the hotel, we settle in, we turn on the TV. All the French people are talking about the coronation coming up. And so we relax, and then I made dinner reservations. So there was a restaurant a 1/10 of a mile away from our hotel that was number 17. It was ranked number 17 on TripAdvisor out of like 15,000 in Paris. So I said, we're going to go to number 17 for dinner. We still talk about this meal. It was so good. The French know what they're doing with cooking. That's all I have to say. It was a culinary delight of the taste buds. just, words cannot describe it. Everything was delicious. We didn't leave a morsel behind. And while we were there was a boulangerie that was down the street a little bit. And people buy baguettes at all times of the day. They will walk around with baguettes. They will snack on baguettes. I think it was Jim from Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff. We talked about baguettes in a live that he was on, and he said it's made with 4 ingredients. Like, it is so fresh, and it's really not that, unhealthy for you. The thing is, you have to eat it the same day you buy it, or else it's going to get hard and all that stuff. So people go to the bakery to get baguettes a lot, but I've never seen people have baguettes in their backpacks. Like, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. And that was a lot of fun. So after dinner, we basically went back to the room and we wanted to prep for day 2. So that was Friday. Day 2 was Saturday. Saturday, I was able to get us a 9:30 reservation at the Louvre, the museum. I needed to see Mona Lisa. If I'm coming to town, I want to see Mona Lisa. So we had to we took the metro. We took the metro to get to the Louvre. And let me tell you, the metro in London, phenomenal. We didn't have one bad experience. I love the sound effect of it. It reminds me of like a sci-fi creature movie. Like, it's really, really good and it's really fast. No issues traveling up and down the metro. Same with London. It's just a little different because everything is in French and you have to really know where you're going. So thank you, Apple Maps, for helping out with our transportation situation. So we took the metro to get to where we needed to be, and we got there on time. So we did the Louvre. We spent about 2.5, 3 hours in the Louvre. We saw as much as we can see. Then we had reservations with Bateau Parisien, which is like a river cruise, and it was a 3-course lunch that you were able to get champagne and red and white wine. So you had a 3-course meal. It lasted about 2.5 hours, I'd say. Super enjoyable. Everything was glassed and closed, so you're able to see the architecture, the sights, all of this good stuff. The National Library of France, we were able to pass by, and my waiter actually said, he's like, look at the windows. The curtains are parted like open books. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much for giving me that little tidbit of knowledge. So here's a picture of the books, the livre. I think I got that right. Woo. Okay, so that was really most of our day. Then that same day, instead of going back to the hotel, we hopped on another metro and we went to go see Notre Dame. And we checked it out, and literally around the corner from Notre Dame is Shakespeare and Company, and that was one of my targets. I needed to hit Shakespeare and Company if I'm going to go to Paris. You had to wait a little bit in line to get in, but lots of elbow room. It wasn't super crowded. They have it down to a science as to how they're letting people in and out. There were some gentlemen playing chess in the front. Like, it was just sweet. It was just sweet. I did get some vintage books there. A little disappointed with the horror section, but I guess horror really isn't that popular in France, from what someone said to us, which is fine. But I picked up some crime books, so I'm like, okay, I'll try these. And I also got a mystery book too. And at Shakespeare and Company, they stamp your book, you get a bookmark. Like, it's just a fun experience being an American in Paris. Let's see. Then after that, we walked around a little bit more. There were a lot of crepe stands. I wish I would have got a crepe. That's the only thing. Then our last night in Paris, our last day. Was it our last day or our last night? That was Saturday. So Sunday, we made arrangements to meet up with a booktuber friend, and we had lunch, and we went to a really cool stop called Monge, and very less city-like, less Brooklyn-like. A lot of discreet hotels, a lot of restaurants, a lot of cafes. a lot of people biking, a lot of people just enjoying the experience of being in Paris. And there was a woman doing karaoke. She was singing. There was a couple dancing. It was just like, I can't even describe it. It was just quintessential Parisian culture. It was absolutely phenomenal. Bookstores, didn't get to go to a lot of bookstores because most of the bookstores are in Francais. So we will have to spend more time next year trying to find more French bookstores that have English books as well. So yeah, let's see. And then what do we do after that? Salted caramel chocolate macaron. Delicious. I just had my last meal in Paris, and I'm not gonna lie, it was amazing. That was Sunday. We flew home on Monday. So we had a long morning. We didn't have to get to the airport until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We got to the airport. Our flight took off at 2 p.m. Paris time. We landed in Jersey at 6:30 United States time, but we got 6 hours back. When we flew to London to Paris, you lose another hour. So instead of being 5 hours ahead, we were now 6 hours ahead, and we got those 6 hours back when we came back, which was great. So let's see. Did I cover everything I wanted to? Do you guys have any questions? Everything just went off with a hitch. We had no travel issues. We have no delays. We had no plane issues. We had no luggage issues. The food in Paris, like I said, bar none to anything else I have ever tasted. Nothing is processed. Same goes for London. Breakfast, nothing really was processed except the bread, and it's bread. Not a lot of things that you would find in the States, like Walmart, supermarkets. Everything was fresh. Everything was at the local market where you would walk up and down outside. There would be people selling fish, people selling meat, people selling grains, people selling prepared foods over here. Just like the movies. I don't know how else to say it. Yeah, the food experience in Europe is just fantastic. Let me tell you about Marmite. So I tried it. My husband tried it first. He put it on dry toast, no butter. He did like almost jelly. He didn't just do a thin layer. It was on thick. Took a bite, did not like it at all. So I explained to my Discord group, my little British Discord group, what happened. And they're like, no. First you put down butter. And then you put a very, very thin layer of Marmite and try it. And I did. Here's what it is.
Soffri. Non so finito. Vorrei.
Yeah, so I like it. And guess what? My local grocery store sells Marmite, so I'm going to pick some up. I do like the way it hits your taste buds. I like the way it combines with the butter. Yeah, and like I said, thank you to everybody in my Discord for giving me the 411 on how to eat Marmite. But honestly, this trip was some people would think it's a trip of a lifetime. This is just the beginning for me. Yeah, I want to go back. I want to go back next year. There's a lot that we haven't seen. I didn't see Stonehenge. I didn't see Windsor Castle. We weren't able to tour anything in Buckingham Palace because of the security. I want to see Diana's Memorial if possible. I want to see Abbey Road Studios. There's a whole... TripAdvisor has a whole tour where it's all music based and you can go to all the different music sites. Like, just really cool stuff. In France, I think I would want to stay in Manche the next time there, just because it has a little more community vibe. It seems quieter. It seems still accessible to restaurants and cafes, but there's not a lot of hustle or bustle, but you can still access a metro, if that makes sense. It's a little more suburban than city. And I enjoyed that a little better, but I don't know, like, I'd have to check out hotels and stuff like that. But yeah, no, we had a fantastic time. If you've never been, I highly encourage you to go. French people are fantastic. They get a bad rap, I think. I think if you understand the basics of their culture, you're going to be fine. So, basically, when you walk in anywhere, first thing you need to say is bonjour. First thing, before anything, bonjour. You walk into a retail store, bonjour. You walk into your hotel, bonjour. Bonsoir. No one, I guess it's like an unwritten rule. You don't eat while you're walking. You don't eat in public unless it's a baguette. Nobody's snacking on chips. Nobody's eating a candy bar. Nobody's eating a protein bar. It is a baguette. And that's it. And that is completely acceptable and embraced in Paris. A lot of the restaurants had menus that were in French, but also in English. It is a huge tourist town. So, of course, most restaurants are going to feature staff that understand English, that can help your needs. At our hotel, the front desk person spoke a little English, enough to get by, mostly French. My French was horrible. My French that I tried to teach myself for the last 2 years went right out the window. Right out the window. I barely was able to even say good morning, like, it was so bad. But it gave me the fuel to hunker down maybe later this spring and look for a tutor, really start dialing it in, because I want to go back next year and I want to carry a conversation. That's like the dream for me. So yeah, highly recommend. We had gorgeous weather. It was just like here. And the one thing that I loved about this trip that really solidified it for me is the wisteria was blooming in London and it was also blooming in Paris. And I said, MJ is going to go back when the wisteria is in bloom. That's what it's going to be. I'm going to try to be there again, maybe to do the same thing. I don't know. Other family members are like, we're going next year. I'm like, well, I'm going. If you want to come along with me, that's fine. But I think a lot of people, after hearing my experience, are getting a little bit of a travel bug. And people, there is a whole world out there to see. And if you are on a limited budget, know that there are trips out there. These last minute vacation places have really good deals. Like, if you are on a limited budget, if you put a little savings away, you can absolutely do it. Have to have a passport. Gotta have a passport. But know that it's not outside the realm of things. Everything, travel can be accessible to a lot of people. So yeah, and the best thing was that the trip wasn't that expensive. Really, if I would have left a week later, it would have gone up by probably $1,000, maybe $1,500. But by leaving on the 1st, we got the best price possible. And like I said, no issues, no complaints. It was really, really good. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little vlog, the videos, the photos, and everything. All right. I hope you are all doing well. I hope you are going to be able to get some adventure and travel this year. I hope this invigorates you to travel abroad, visit different countries, and, just understand other cultures. There's a whole world out there that's waiting for you. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself so you can take care of others. And I will see you in my next video, whether that be sooner or later. So until next time, everyone, bonne journée.